more aggressively. We commit to social distancing. So important. Social distancing, such an important phrase. And we do it right now.
Okay, so I've resorted to this for my intros now. Yeah, social distancing is definitely interesting. So I think the best way to describe this like time or season that we're all in right now is pretty much like So I think we heard about this whole thing, the coronavirus or COVID-19, to sound a little bit more intellectual, quite a while ago. But to be honest, it really only got my attention quite recently. I think it was the beginning of February where I was watching a YouTube video about Wuhan and how the virus was spreading there and how they were like in complete lockdown. I was watching this, I was like, this is crazy. And obviously my heart went out to them, but I didn't, this probably sounds so ignorant, but I didn't think it was going to spread like it did. I didn't think that we were gonna really like deal with it. And then days later we found out there's cases in Europe and other countries, and then it hit America, and then we found out it's in South Africa. Then our president, I think it's like a week ago, addressed our country and our nation about, you know, stricter measures and social distancing. And just a couple of days ago we found out that there's like a case or two cases in our suburb, the area where we live. And I'm like, man, like that spread, like that was so fast. Hey, what's up, dude?
How you doing, man? No classes, been like holiday vibes.
How's things looking that side, bro?
Yeah, dude, like I said, like just hella quiet. Like the streets right now are dead quiet.
Don't jump, dude. There's one person. Wow, that's weird.
And like I said, like this is downtown. Like it's like right now it's like 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime. It's supposed to be like mad.
Yeah.
So actually, like last night, like yesterday, like there was this one guy working on the street, like breaking down the street, like to fix it.
Oh yeah.
And like it was just like one guy.
Cheers, dude. Much love. Bye. It's so weird seeing New York so empty. Like, there's no word to describe it. I think New York is at the moment, like at this day, I think it's like just over 2,000 or under 2,000 people that have been like infected by the virus. Yo, what's up, guys? A quick side note from Editing Jeff, as you can see. Obviously, like while I'm editing these videos, like everything, like the stats and pretty much everything concerning and around the coronavirus thing is changing, not only daily, but like hourly at this moment. So some of these stats are like, this was all, this whole video I filmed on Monday. So yeah, some of the stuff is obviously different now. Anyways, back to the video. In South Africa, where we are today, we just got an updated stat like an hour ago that it's 402 cases of the coronavirus. So yeah, it's just weird. See, here's the thing, I generally try to stay away from things like news or mainstream media. Personally, I just think it sometimes has this tendency to evoke a lot of fear, and it kind of just stresses me out. But I'm also like kind of like with stuff like this, it wouldn't bother me a lot, you know, and I'd be kind of rebellious of like, you know, I'm not gonna stay inside, I'll do what I want, and I'm not gonna get the virus, it's me. And you know, it didn't take me very long to realize that this is a very real thing. Just like a couple of weeks ago, I was like, this is not going to get close to us, and now it's here. And you know, in this video, I'm not at all trying to make you scared or put more fear or add on to the fear I actually was thinking about how can I help the situation? What can I do to encourage you in a time like this? Alright, so this video might not make a lot of sense in terms of time. I was supposed to end it off at the beach. That's what I planned out, this whole idea for a shot, and then we found out we had an address from our president, which we just listened to, because this thing is really changing so much. And yeah, we just found out that as from midnight this Thursday, which is in 2 or 3 days from now, to Monday now, South Africa's going on full lockdown, which yeah, it's definitely interesting, a little bit scary, I won't lie, but I do believe it was the right call. I'm super proud to be a South African right now. I think our president is doing a phenomenal job. And yeah, so basically I was thinking of a way that I can help encourage or help the situation in any way using like this community and this platform on YouTube. And I thought I could share 4 things with you guys. Number 1 is to realize that this thing is real. I think it's pretty obvious now, like we're going into lockdown and we've all been affected by it, but it's no longer something that, you know, we're just reading about on social media or seeing on the news. This is like a real crisis and a pandemic that we're facing. And it kind of leads to point number 2, and that is, you know, doing everything you can possibly do, that I can possibly do, to help the situation, to make it better, to try and prevent it from getting worse. I think the thing is, when we are in denial about something, we can act very ignorantly, and there is definitely certain stuff we can all do to play our part. Obviously, like from the small stuff to washing our hands for 20 seconds, you know, when you cough in a bent elbow, don't be in public, although you, like, it's pretty redundant me saying this, we can't be in public from Thursday on anyways, but I think even after this, like, to be aware of these things. And you know, I think the biggest thing is, you know, I see a lot of people on social media complaining about, you know, the government's doing these things, or why do we have these certain bans, or and people like just deliberately not listening. The government is doing this for our best interest, and I really believe it was the right call. And I like working on prevention now is the smartest thing we can do. We might look at other countries and be like, but you know, they've got thousands and thousands and they don't even have as strict measures. But the thing is that if we don't work on prevention now, we never know what could happen in future terms. So let's work together, let's meet our government halfway, and let's do whatever we possibly can and what is required of us to make this thing better. Okay, so number 3 is to think beyond you. Think beyond yourself. You know, it was so cool hearing about those families that gave like the billions of rands to help aid the situation, help aid businesses. I think, you know, a lot of you guys watching, some of you guys might be in a position where you really need help. Some of you guys might be in a position where you can afford to help. You can afford to help people. You might have something that someone else needs in this moment. And I think it's really important, yes, to be wise and look after ourselves, look after our families, but also ask the question, like, is there someone that I can help? Is there someone in need? And I guarantee you there probably is. Be safe, but think about other safety as well. Okay, quick break to do some push-ups. I just hit my leg. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, lastly, I want to end this video off by saying this, and this might be super cheesy, is don't lose hope. I think in times like this, it's so easy to become like paralyzed by fear. And you know, I have to check myself as well. Sometimes you can get so caught up in all the stats and all the news and all of these things that you start letting it all get to your head, and you start stressing out, and you start speaking negatively. And you know, I really do believe our words have power, and speaking life is so important, because every time we speak negatively or we mention certain things, like we're just giving this thing more power. But to be completely real with you guys, I don't really have like the answer, and I actually don't think anyone right now does have the answer. But one thing I know is that I find comfort in knowing the one who does know the answer. I don't know what I would do in a time specifically like this without my relationship with God. Sometimes like I find myself in a place where I'm so confused and can be so scared and just absolutely not knowing what the frick is going on. But I know God still does, and I do believe that God is still on the throne, and that He loves us as His creation, He loves us as His children, and that He loves you watching. Whether you believe it or not, I do believe it. And God has all kinds of promises for these kinds of things in His Word that He promises us. And something that gave me a lot of hope this week was In Psalm 33 verse 18 it says, "But the Lord watches over those who fear him, those who rely on his unfailing love. He rescues them from the death. He rescues them from death and keeps them alive in times of famine." Guys, I just want to say that God is for you. God is not against you. God loves you, whether you choose to believe that or not. And sometimes it might not feel like it. Sometimes you might feel alone. Sometimes you might feel like God is out to get you. I promise you that he isn't. Here's the thing. I think a lot of us have been hearing about, self-isolation and quarantine, and we're going into lockdown. We have to be isolated, alone. And the fact is, there's some people that are now experiencing isolation for the first time. Like, I hate it. I don't like it that much. And then there's people that have been feeling isolated for way before this. There's people, some of you guys might even be watching, and I've been there, where you feel, even surrounded by many people, you feel isolated and you feel scared, or you feel fearful, or you feel alone. And I want to encourage you, maybe in a time like this, maybe it's now time to go to God and speak to God. Take your troubles and your problems and come as you are, and take it to God and ask him for help. And I do believe that in this time, maybe God is drawing people towards him. And in this time, if you do so while you are quarantined at home or whatever, shut your door or wherever you want to be in your house, go to God and speak to him. Come as you are. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be amazing. God loves you, and he's got a plan, and he's got a purpose for your life. And I really do believe that the more we draw near to him, God draws near to us, and that he's going to get us through this. Anyways, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. And maybe just the last tip that I'll share with you guys is, if you're struggling to not go outside, if you feel like you really just want to go outside, just shave your eyebrows. It's definitely going to help the situation.
Common conundrum of man. Good people question if there is one. Well, bad is soon good. Disregard the tally victims. Think it's pretty hard living knowing father was a ladder. When if my blood goes splatter, if it pollock or not matter at all. If I fall, would you catch me?